We used pre-seed this time, but we ruined the whole tube because we left the tube on the bed and then my husband kneeled on it like halfway through sex and it splurged everywhere all over me. I got a lube splurge all over me. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Forgive me for how I look. It's been an extremely long day, and forgive me for like the lighting and the angles here because my phone has to charge, and so I have it precariously like balanced on an entire, I don't know, 5-foot stack of pillows right now next to my bed so that it can charge, but I can film at the same time. So with that as a preface, today is the end of 11 DPO. Yay! I've made it this far. But unfortunately, I have had no symptoms. None whatsoever. I'm gonna put my basal body chart over here, and I just want to make a couple notes before I talk about it. First of all, this cycle is the orange line, which is way above all the others. The other 3 lines are just my past 3 previous cycles. I have the free version of Fertility Friend, so I can't choose how many cycles it shows on my overlay. This is my only option, is just the past 4 cycles, including the current one. But the reason my line this month looks different than the other ones is for 3 different reasons. The first is that I lost my basal body temperature, so that's why there's no temperature recordings between like the first day of my period to 1 DPO. And because, I mean, the whole reason for that is because we didn't actually plan on actively TTCing this cycle. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision 1 day before I ovulated. So I hightailed it to the pharmacy and just bought a quick, cheap, regular thermometer that only goes to the first decimal place. So that's the second reason that it could look a little different from my other cycles, is that it's a new thermometer and it only goes to the first decimal place. And also, I temped vaginally this cycle, and I'm never going to go back to temping orally ever again. I feel like vaginal temping is way more accurate, especially because I sleep with my mouth open. And I think that breathing through my mouth all night long, breathing in just room temperature air, really affects my temps. It makes sense. So, but the good news is right before I started filming, I found my basal body thermometer. Yay! So my plan for tomorrow is I'm going to wake up and temp with just the cheap single decimal place one, so that my chart at least is consistent this month. But then afterwards, shortly afterwards, I'm going to also temp again with my basal and just see what the difference is, because that might be useful to see if there's any variance between thermometers. So anyway, I thought that would be cool. So yeah, new thermometer, single decimal place, and different location of taking my temp is why my chart this month is so much different than my previous ones. But if you look at the pattern, it's almost identical. You know, I go up, pretty much up and down in the same places every month. So, back to the cycle update. Like I said, I had no symptoms. None whatsoever. I'm not even going to get into listing anything because it was really just nothing. I felt nothing. Even when I tried to think like, maybe this, maybe that, nothing. No increased CM, no boob pain, no fatigue, no hunger, no sickness, no nothing. And according to my chart, there is no promising data to indicate that I am pregnant. Around 8 DPO, if you look, I did have a dip. I dropped almost half a degree, and it was right around that time frame where implantation could have happened, and I got pretty pumped about it, I'm not gonna lie. Even though I wasn't feeling any symptoms, I know that can be very normal to have no symptoms. So, you know, my husband and I both got a little stoked on that. But my temperatures really haven't recovered since that, and I've researched basal body charts, basal body temperature charts, enough to know that generally speaking, if you're pregnant, you usually see a triphasic pattern where you've got like 3 tiers of temperatures, right? You've got your low follicular phase ones, and then you've got a dip, and then you ovulate, and then you're right around here, and then you've got like the dip, and then you implant, and then you're up here. So you've got like these, and these never go down. But I'm still here. I'm still at the post-ovulatory kind of just up and down pattern. So that's not very promising, but you never know because, you know, crazier things have happened. But there have been some other things that have happened. Namely, I normally always spot brown blood 1 to 2 days before my period starts. And my period always starts on 14 DPO. So I have like a 13-day luteal phase. And then on 14 DPO is also cycle day 1 because my period has come. So usually 12 DPO and 13 DPO, I have varying degrees of consistent brown spotting every time I wipe. And then my period starts. But today at 11 DPO, at lunchtime, I wiped and I had the smallest amount of brown blood mixed into just a very normal, like very, very minuscule low amount of cervical fluid. I've been taking a lot of Benadryl though the past few days because I suffer from insomnia, and I've particularly had a bad stretch of days. So I can't really use cervical fluid or lack thereof as any indication of pregnancy or not because Benadryl severely hampers my CM. So I don't know, but for all intents and purposes, I've had a very normal non-pregnancy amount of CM. But anyway, I had like the tiniest, negligiblest, is that a word? Amount of brown blood when I wiped. And it was only that one time. So what that means to me is maybe there's hope. Either I am just spotting, like early spotting 3 days before my period starts, which has happened many times. It has happened. Not often. I tend to only spot like 1 to 2 days before my period comes, but 3 days is not unheard of. So either I'm just like early levels of spotting, and then we'll see more tomorrow, or that could have technically been the so-called implantation bleeding. And if I implanted on cycle day 8, I mean, I read online and they say usually implantation bleeding is brown, it's extremely negligible in quantity, and it usually happens 1 to 2 days after implantation. So technically it should have happened on 9 to 10 DPO. But I don't know how to read these charts, and I don't know how to read my body because it hasn't given me any signs that I may have implanted. So on the off chance that this was implantation bleeding, I don't know if it's unreasonable to think that it could have happened 3 days past the event if I were to go off of my basal body temperature chart and say that 8 DPO I implanted. I've also tried to read about when your chart reflects that you've implanted, because I've read all about this implantation dip, but I actually don't understand why the dip happens only when you implant. Like, why would all of a sudden the corpus luteum stop producing progesterone? Because I thought that it was progesterone that affected the temperature, unless it had to do with maybe estrogen levels. I don't know. I know it's hormone related, but I don't know how long it takes for that to register in your temperature. So if on the morning of 8 DPO I saw the temperature dip, does that mean I actually technically implanted on 7 DPO and it took that much time to show up on my temperature chart? I don't know. If you have the answer to that, please comment below, because I actually am interested. Because it wouldn't make sense to me that my temperature would reflect a change the morning before I implanted, right? That doesn't, because then it wouldn't be an implantation dip, because implantation wouldn't have happened. The likelihood of this being implantation bleeding that I experienced today is so close to 0 that we might as well just say it's 0. But it makes it exciting, like one can hope. It's getting me one more day, closer to either finding out or, starting my next cycle or something. So, I'll take what I can get. Oh, this is getting long. So yeah. Okay, so this is the plan, you guys. I have talked to my husband. He's going out of town tomorrow afternoon, and he's not going to get back until Sunday night. Sunday is the day that my period is supposed to come. Tomorrow is 12 DPO though. And I'm not sure if I said this yet or not, but always, 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 2 days before my period starts, I see one drop. Like if my basal body temperature is here, it drops down to here, which is like a big drop, and then it drops down again 1 day before my period starts. So by tomorrow, we will know if I'm pregnant or not, because when I take my temperature, we will either see my temps at least holding steady, or else doing the first nosedive down toward ant flow. So when I temp tomorrow morning, if my temperatures are below 36.9, I'm not going to bother taking a pregnancy test because it is not worth it. But if my temperature is stable or has increased tomorrow, then my husband and I are going to have a quick chat, and we're going to decide whether we're going to take a pregnancy test or not. I kind of want to wait until I've missed my period. That's what we did with our first daughter, but I know that, we're getting a little antsy, So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to make a decision tomorrow morning. So the next video I post is either going to be a live pregnancy test, whether it's negative or not. I promise I will post it no matter what. It's just a matter of whether we decide to do the test or not. Or the next video is going to be a cycle 2 introduction video, where I'm going to go over all the things I plan on doing this next cycle, from diet and exercise to supplements and dosages and things like different things I want to try, and fertility friendly lubes. I think I might actually get Conceive Plus. We used Pre-Seed this time, but we ruined the whole tube because we left the tube on the bed, and then my husband kneeled on it like halfway through sex, and it splurged everywhere all over me. I got a lube splurge all over me. So we wasted the whole tube. And I can get a tube of Conceive Plus quicker than I can get Pre-Seed. Pre-Seed I have to import from the UK, but Conceive Plus I can just get here in Sweden easily. So we may try that instead of Pre-Seed, blah, 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 blah. I'm getting ahead of myself. But I'm going to do my cycle 2 update video next, if we don't decide to do a pregnancy test. So stay tuned. If you're interested in following my journey, go ahead and click subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around next time. And I'm telling you, the chances of me being pregnant are like that much. But it's still exciting, right? So anyway, I hope to have some fun news soon, and thank you for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Okay.